Hi guys, so welcome to ShefDev. I'll be taking you on web development class. So first of all, we need to understand what is web development, and we can say web development is the process of creating websites and web applications that people can access on the internet using a browser like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and so on. And it involves building everything you see and interact with on a website, from the layout to the buttons, form, animation, and so on. There are two main parts of web development, which is we have the front end web development and the back end web development. So the front end web development is what user see and interact with. It includes the design of the website, the layout, the colors, buttons, and menu that you see on every website that you visit. So front end developer use tools like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So this is the main core programming language that you need to know for you to start front end web development: the HTML, the CSS, and the JavaScript. So the HTML, it is used to structure the content of our website, right? And the CSS, it is used to style the content of our website by adding color, giving them margin, padding, and giving them size, and put every component in appropriate position. Do you get that? Then the JavaScript it make our website interactive, whereby you can be able to do something with the user can interact with the website. Then you can now proceed and learn their framework. Like we have CSS framework like SAS, like Bootstrap, Tenway, so you can add that to your portfolio. Then also for JavaScript, you can learn React, which is the most popular used JavaScript framework. Then you can also learn Vue or Angular and so on. So you can also add those two and two to your portfolio. Do you get that? So these are the major skills you need to know to become a front-end web engineer or to become a software engineer. So you need to know what is HTML. So HTML simply means hypertext markup language. Hypertext markup language. So it's the standard language used to create the structure of a web page. That is every website that you visit on the internet, down to YouTube, down to Amazon, down to Netflix, down to Facebook. So their standard structure, the language that is used there is the HTML, right? So to create the structure, we use the HTML to do that. I believe you understand this. So, and for the HTML, so we have what we call the HTML elements. The HTML elements are buttons, your div, your p, your paragraph, your section, your headings. So these are to structure your web page. So let's open our browser, and before I open the browser, so the only two pieces of tools that you need for you to start writing your program or creating your website is the VS Code and a web browser. So you need a web browser and the VS Code before you can start writing code, right? So how do we download VS Code, or how do we install VS Code on our system? It's very simple. So all you need to do is to open our browser. So I've already installed Chrome on my system. I just want to show us how we can download it on our machine. It's very simple. So we can come here and search for VS Code. Okay, my network is not connected. Okay, I'm connected now. Okay, so let me refresh. So you can see, so the first link that you see, you click on it. Then you can see we have download for Windows. If you are using Windows, so you download for Windows, and if you're using Mac, you search for, you can also download for Mac on your machine. Then click on download, automatically it's going to download. So for you to install Chrome on your browser, you need to come to your Google and type Google Chrome. Then you hit your enter. So you use the first link that you have here. You click on it. So here you can now click on download to download the Chrome. So these are the two software that we need, your VS Code and your Google Chrome. So the VS Code allows us to write our code, while the Chrome allows us to view the code that we write in our. Already these two software on my system. So I have my VS Code, so I have to open it now. Right click on it, then I'll click on open. So I have my VS Code open. So this is the interface of my VS Code. Now, so before we start, before we move on, so we need to create where we want to store our code. So I have to minimize this and come to my desktop. I'll right click, then I'll click on new, then click on folder. So I'm going to give this folder a name. I can call it HTML CSS to get into my VS Code. So I have to open my VS Code. Then I'll click on file. From file, I'll click on see this. We have open folder, or you can just come here from this welcome page. You can just use this to click on it, and then click on open folder. So you take it to your window. So I'm just going to file, then click on open folder. So from the open folder, I need to go to my desktop. So I have to click, because I created the folder on my desktop, so I have to click on desktop here. Then I have to scroll down and look for the folder that I just created, which is what? HTML CSS class. Then I'll click on select folder. So this folder has opened inside my VS Code. So now I need to create a file for me to begin writing my HTML code. So what I need to do here is to click on this button here called what? New file. But if you still need a folder inside this HTML CSS class, if you need a folder on it, you can click on this one to create a new folder. Why this one is to create what? A new file. So we need to create a new file now. Click on it, then I can give this index.html. You know, we are the code that we want to write is what? Is HTML. So any name that you are giving your file, you should end with what? .html. You can give this thing any name of your choice. You can just give it ShefDev this way .html, or you give it index.html, or any name of your choice, but it must end with what? .html. That is, you are telling your computer that okay, you want to write code in HTML, right? So I have to change this back to index. So I'll just give it index.html, then I'll hit my enter button. Now I'm now on the page where I can type or start writing my HTML code. So now to computer that okay, I need to create a text, or I need to create a button, or I need to create a form. So we need to learn all of these HTML elements, that is elements for creating button, element for creating heading, element for creating form, element for creating paragraph. So you need to know all of these elements, and element for what's it called, for creating section, right? Section, your footer. Then for navs, you need to know all of these elements. But let's use the button element. So greater than, then less than, backward slash, button, greater than. So now we have these elements called what? Button. So in between the button, we can give it, we can input the content or give it the value that we want to display on the web page. We can say good, let's say good job. Then after I've given the instruction here, okay, I need to create a button on my page to display what? Good job. Then I have to save, Ctrl S on my keyboard. Then, so for me to minimize this VS Code, then I have to go to the folder that I created earlier where I store the code. Then I have to open this folder. Okay, so this is the index file that I created. So I have to open it with my VS Code. Maybe your own is not showing. I have to open it with my Google Chrome. If your own is not showing Google Chrome, you can right click on this, on the index file, then you can do open with Google Chrome, and automatically it's going to open with Google Chrome. Now you can see the instruction that we give the computer to create the button, good job. You can see we have it here. So you can go back again, you can say, okay, we need a paragraph of text. So you can come and put less than p greater than. You can see our VS Code auto complete it for without us typing the other closing elements. So in between these, we can just say this is what paragraph. Let's say this is okay. Let me do this like as we are working on the VS Code, we can also be working on our web browser. So let me do this, put this one here and minimize this. So after we have saved, we have to refresh the web browser, refresh, and you can see we have, this is what, a paragraph of text. Do you see that? So this is how we give our computer instruction, and we can view that instruction in our web browser. Now let's not forget, whenever you are writing code, so our code writes run from top to bottom. So if I should do vice versa, I move this up and bring this one down, so it means that this button is going to be below the paragraph, right? Now if I should move this down here, I like this, then right click and click on cut, then I come down here, hit my enter button, then I right click, then I paste, then I remove this extra space that we have here, then I save, then I refresh. You can see that our code run the paragraph first, then before the button. So this is how we write HTML elements. So now, so the next thing that we're going to look at now is the HTML syntax rule. So the syntax is just the rules that we need to follow for us to write a good HTML, or for our code not to run into error. Now, for us, before you can type this this content, you need to have this p paragraph inside what, the less than and what, and the greater than, and you need to have this p inside what, the less than, backward slash, and what, the greater than. So if you should omit this greater than here and we delete and save, then you refresh, it's not going to display this paragraph because this is not following the rules of the HTML. So until you come back and you correct it this way, and you save and refresh, your code is going to come back to normal. So these are the syntax rules, and you don't omit this backward slash and you type it this way, you're going to run into error. If you save and you refresh, and it's not really showing, it's not really telling that maybe you have an error or you don't have an error, but for some reason you need to input that backward slash, and you can see it's creating some kind of chunks for you here which you did not need on the web page. So for us to correct this, we have to come back here and input the backward slash to terminate the button, then backward slash to terminate the paragraph as well. So save and you refresh, you can see we have a nice code. Did you get that? So that is that on the syntax. Next topic we are looking at is the HTML tag. So what is the HTML tag? In HTML, there is what we call the opening tag, which is this, and what the closing tag, which is this. So every element must have what the opening tag and what the closing tags. So these are tags. So this one here is the opening tag, and this one here is a what is a closing tag. If I should come down here and I want to type a heading, you can see less than h1 greater than. So what I have here is what is the opening tag, and this one here that has the backward slash help me to what to close the tag. So we call this what the closing. So these are tags. So let's look at the other links. Now, have you been on any website whereby maybe you go to Google and you search for something, or you search for a site on Google, and Google is going to provide you a lot of link. So once you click on that link, it's going to take you to that site. So what happened there is the anchor tag. So the anchor tag help us to link one site to another. So you want to link your site to your friend's site, so all you need to do, get your friend's URL and you embed it in your code. So whenever they visit your site, once you click on that link, it's going to open your friend's link. So that is what anchor tag. Now the a tag, less than a and greater than. Now, so we want to get a link that will take us to Netflix. So all we need to do now is to type link to Netflix, save. So after you save, then go back to your web browser and refresh. You can see we have the text link to what to Netflix, but this doesn't do anything. When you click on it, it's not doing anything. So that is when we need to introduce ourselves to what we call HTML attributes. So HTML attributes help us to reference a link to another site. So how do we apply HTML attributes? It's very simple. So you put your mouse inside the opening tag, which is this, beside the A, and we give a space. Then we type href equals to double quote. So in between this code, this code, that is when we need to reference the site. That is, whenever you click on this name, we want to open this URL that we're going to put inside this double quote. For example, let's assume we want to link this our site to Netflix. So all we need to do is to get Netflix URL. So we type netflix.com, press enter, you can see this is the Netflix website, right? This is Netflix website. So all you need to do is to come to this up here, then copy the URL, then you come back to your code and you import the URL inside your code this way, then you save and you come back, you refresh. You can see this thing have changed to you can see it has changed the look, and once you hover your mouse on it, it changed to a hand telling you that you can click. So immediately I click on this, it's going to direct me to Netflix website immediately. So this is what we call the A tag. So A tag, it allows us to connect to other websites, right, using the attribute href. So this href simply means referencing. So we are referencing this this website or this link to this link that we have here. So whenever we click on this link to Netflix, it's going to trigger this URL and it's going to open it for us. So that is that on the anchor tag. So anchor tag helps us to link a site to one and another. So that is that on the A tag. So that is that on this. So we're going to look at so in our HTML we can create space. You can see we have jam packed all our HTML together, so you can actually give them a space to have a neat code. So all we need to do here is to come here and then press enter, and come in, press enter, then press enter from here, and I'll put this down here. I'll press enter, right? And for this, you can see it's kind of too long, so I can come here and cut this short, then put this here. Now, so looking at this down, you can see the space between the elements and the content is kind of too large. So this is using 4 indents space. So the normal indent space that we should be using is 2 indents. So all you need to do now is to click here and change this indent to 2. You see that, and we can just come back here and correct this, remove one of it, and also come here, remove one. But we changed it on this page, but if you have to open a new file, it's going to still use that 4 spacing. So how do we change it permanently? It's very simple. By going to your settings, we click on settings, then we search for tab size. This is that tab size. Then from here you can change it to 2, and we close, and then we save and refresh. You can see that. So that is how we set our indent space in our HTML or in any other code that you want to write. We get that. So now we have learned some basic of HTML, right? So of the HTML elements and the basic of HTML, and we should learn about the HTML tag, and we should learn about the HTML anchor tag and the HTML attributes. Then don't forget this anchor attribute that we use here, which is href, it only apply to anchor tag. So every other element like button and paragraph also have their own attributes. So let's move to the next lesson, which is the CSS. CSS is cascading style sheet. So it helps us to beautify our website, or it make our website look appealing by adding the font size, the font color, and layout of your web page. So that is what CSS does. Look at that. So now, before we continue, I have a project that I got from Simon. So he's a mentor, so I'm going to use that example to learn the CSS. So I have it on my desktop here, which is button. Now, so we have this open. Let me close this, and let me close this one here, and come here and let me close this. So we have this little project. We are going to use it to learn the CSS, right? So all we need to do now is to create a new file. I will say button.html. Press enter. So all we need to do now is to open our code. Go back to your desktop or to your file. Then you're going to open the file in our browser. Click on it. Then you right click and click on open with Chrome. So we have this page viewed in our web browser. So we have to start with this first one here, which is subscribe button. So how do you create subscribe button? It's very simple. So less than button greater than, and we type subscribe button, then you save, and then you refresh. You can see we have that element in our page. Now, so how do you start styling this HTML? So let me bring this one out here so that you can be looking at two of them together as we proceed. Right? So let's continue. So we want to modify the appearance of this button to look like what we have here. It's very simple. So we need to introduce the HTML elements, which is the style elements. Style. So this style elements allows us to write CSS inside our HTML. This style allows us to write the CSS inside of our HTML. So all we need to do now is to come in between these elements, then we type enter. So we want to target this button and start giving it the color, right? So we type button, the curly brackets, then we say background color red. So now we need to understand the syntax of CSS. So what we do here is the CSS. We have already started writing our CSS. So if I should come here now and refresh, you can see we have the red background. So now the syntax of CSS is what we call the CSS selector, and here is what we have the CSS property and the CSS value, which is the value that we want to apply to the button on our page. So this one is the CSS selector, and this one is the property, CSS property, and this one here is the CSS value. So you are telling the computer, okay, what do you want to change on this web page? So on this button, so we want to change the background color. So we type okay, CSS property background color to which of the color? Red. So we can type red. If you want to change it to something like green, you type green, you give it the value green, you save and you refresh. Green, you save and you refresh, and the green color is going to apply. But what I'm looking here is what is red, so I have to change this back to red, give it the value of red this way. Then you save and you refresh, and we have it here. Now, so the next thing we are going to look at is that you can see the text color inside this button is white. So I have to change this to white, right? So in this case, we come here and we type color, CSS property color to white. Then we save and we refresh. You can see these have changed to white, right? So now The next thing we are looking at, you can see if you look at this our style here, there is nothing like a black line surrounding it, which is the border. There is no border on this, so we have to get rid of this border that we have here. So all you need to do is to come back to your CSS style, and under here it say border column. So we can set the border to none, or we can say the border 0 column. Right, so we save and we refresh, so and the border is gone, right? Now, so we want to set the height. You can see this one is so I have height and there's no height on this. So we need to set the height of this by coming here and we say height to like let's say 20 pixels. Save and refresh. You can see it is not is too small, so we can come back and change it again, and we say height of, let's say, 45 pixels. Then save and you refresh. Okay, this is also much, and let's say 35 pixels, right? Save 35 pixels, save and you refresh. I think this is okay. Now, so we want it to want to increase the width of this button, so you can come here and say width of, you can give it let's say 120 pixels. You save and you refresh. You can see, I think this is too much. Let's say 110. Save and refresh. Let's reduce it to like 18 pixels. Save and refresh. I think this is perfect. Now, looking at this now, if you look close to this button, you can see it has a round corner here. This place is kind of round corner and round corner. So how do we do that? And if you look at this one here, the edge is very sharp, so we need to turn this sharp edge to what? To a round corner. So how do I know about all of these properties? So Google is a friend. You can easily go to Google and search for CSS round corner, and they're going to give you the properties, the appropriate properties that you need to round the corner of these elements. So here we come back here now, we can see for us to round this this edge, we use the CSS property called border dash radius this way. So I'm going to input value, let's say the value of, let's say, 20 pixels. Save and refresh. You can see it gives us a very big round corner, which we don't need. So let's reduce this to like 10 pixels. Save and refresh. This is not what we want. So this is how we will do a lot of time error in HTML. So we can come back and say, okay, let's see 4 pixels. Save and refresh. This is also too much, and let's set it to like 2 pixels. Save and refresh. I think this is okay. So now we want to match this color to what we have here. So we have to come here and select the color. Hover your mouse on the color, on this red color, and we can actually select the color that we want here. So let's pick this color around here. Okay, I think this is okay. Save and you refresh. We have the background color. So this is how we style our button step by step inside the HTML and inside the style CSS. Do we get that? So all of this property applied to this button, and we target this button using the element button in our CSS, and inside the curly bracket we import all the properties that is needed for us to style these HTML elements, this button HTML elements. You get that? So now we are done with this subscribe button. So the next one I'm going to look at is the join button. So you have to come back to your HTML page, and we press your enter, we type less than button, then join, save and refresh. Now you can see that immediately we create this join button, it takes all the properties of this subscribe button. Listen, because we are using the HTML element selector, which is button. So any button that you create on this page, this property is going to apply to all of them all. If I should come back here and import a new button, less than button, then let's greater than, then I put then I save, then I refresh, this is going to have the same properties. So because we are using what we call the element selector. So we have three type of selector in HTML. We have element selector, then we have class selector, and we have ID selector. So the ID selector, I'm going to look at that one later on. So now let's move further. So for us to target only the subscribe button, and for this property to only affect the subscribe button alone, so we have to label this using what? Class. And that class is what we call attribute. So that, so we say that the anchor tag has an attribute. So the part of attribute that we can use on other elements is the class attribute. So we have to come in and add class. So in the class we can label these elements with any name of our choice. For this property to only affect the subscribe button, we have to label each of these elements one after the other using the word the class selector. So we come in between the opening tag and give space, and we type class equals to double quote. So what label or what class do you want to give this button? You can just call it subscribe dash btn. So this helps us to label this button so that we can able to target only this button in our CSS. So we come here now and we're going to change this from button to what? Dot subscribe dash btn. So you save and you refresh. You can see we run into error. That means there is a typo error somewhere. You can see here I wrote subscribe, right? And here something is missing. Hi is missing here. I have to input the hi, then you save and you refresh. You can see all the properties come alive again. So make sure that the name that you type here is the name that you use here. So don't omit any letter or any symbol that you use in between the class name. So if you type subscribe here, you can use you should also use subscribe here. If there is no e here, and there should be no e here, because if that happens, this code is not going to work until you fix it. So this is how we label. And now you can see this element now is not applied to the join button, because we have labeled this that okay, whenever we use the class attribute, which is the subscribe button, it should only affect the elements that have that class. But if we should import this class in this join button, that means we want this join button to also use this style, this subscribe style. So let's try that. So we come here, we do class subscribe dash button and you save, then you refresh, you can see the join button also use the what, the subscribe, the subscribe style, but we don't want that style, so we have to change this. So let's just put this join btn, save, and you refresh. So now we need to style this one separately. So you come inside your style, then under the subscribe button, double space, then dot join dash btn, then curly brackets, and inside the curly bracket you can say background dash color, then you can see white, save, and you refresh, you can see the color are changed to what, to white, right? And also we want the border to be blue, just as what we have here. So you can come here, you can say border dash color blue, then you save and you refresh, you can see this are changed to what, to blue. And also you can see this, like this place is light and this place is dark, so we need to make this border solid. So you can come here and we say border dash style solid, save, and you refresh, you can see, so we have the color surrounding it. And also you can also set the height of this join button to equal this. So we can come down here, we say height equals what, 35 pixels, save, and you refresh, so we have the same height. And also you want to set the weight, you can come here and we say weight of this should be, let's say 80 pixels, save, and you refresh. This is way too much, and we can come here and use that, saying this should be what, 60 pixels, save, and you refresh. I think this is kind of okay. So now the next thing we need to look at is the color of this text is blue. So you can come here and we said color dash blue, save, and you refresh, you can see we have the blue color. So now, and also this border is kind of thicker or is kind of big, so we need to reduce the thickness of this border. So from here you can say border dash width to, let's say 4 pixels, save, and refresh. Okay, I think I increased the number, so I need to decrease it by using, let's say 1 pixels, should be okay, save, and refresh. I think this is perfect. Or let's use 2 pixels, okay, let's use 1 pixels, 1 pixel, save, and refresh. I think this is perfect, right? And also you need to round the corner here, and you can use border dash radius of 2 pixels, save, and you refresh, and you can see the border is now round, right? So that is that on this join button. So the next one now, so looking at this button here, you can see there is space between this subscribe button and the join button. And if you look at our home, there is no space between this subscribe button and this one. So to add space to these two elements, so that means we're going to add margin to our subscribe button. So let's go to our subscribe button. So you can come here, you can see margin dash right, yes. So you can set this margin to like 10 pixels, save, and you refresh. I think this is okay. So we use margin to add space. So that is, we want to add a space to the right of this subscribe button to push this away a little bit with the what, with the value of 10 pixels. So this is how we give space in our HTML using what, margin, in our CSS using margin slash right for the right side. So the next button I'm going to look at is less than button greater than, then type in there, type tweet, then we save and we refresh. So now I'm going to give this a class. For this class, you can call it tweet-ptn. You save. So we come to our CSS and target the class tweet-ptn bracket. So now the background here is kind of blue, so background color, you can use blue, save and refresh. And so I'm going to match this color so that this one too can look like this. So you can come back here and we move this a little bit up to the lighter part, and we also move this up a little bit to the lighter, then save and we refresh. I think okay, let me change this a little bit. Okay, let's see. Okay, save and refresh. I think this is okay. So let's get rid of the border. So if I come here and say border to 0, you save and you refresh. And so I'm going to come here and we give the text inside it color dash white, save and refresh. And I'm going to adjust the height to the same as this. So we come here, so we say height of 35 pixels, and the weight, let's say weight to like 70 pixels. Save and refresh. This is that. I think this is okay. So for us to set the border radius to make it round, so we need to create a border radius. Let's say border radius to like let's say 10 pixels. Save and refresh. You can see it's rounding, but it has not got to the kind of round that we want on our page, right? So to come back here and let's increase it to like 15. Save and refresh. Yeah, it's getting close. So the trick for us to get a perfect rounded corner is to look for the height or the width. So check which of this one has the lowest number. So I think this has the lowest number, so we can divide this into 2. So this will help us to set the border radius to a round corner. So if you divide this into 2, this should give us let's say 18 pixels. Save and refresh. I think this is perfect, right? And also we need to set the font size of this. By coming here, we say font size to like let's say 18 pixels. Save and refresh. I think this is okay. Let's change it to like 14 pixels. Save and refresh. Okay, this is okay. And you can see this one is kind of bold, so I need to bold this one too. So you can come under here, you can see font weight equals to what? Bold. Save and refresh, and this is good. Now looking at this, you can see whenever we place our mouse on this shows us a mouse pointer, but here it just shows the arrow. So how do we set our mouse pointer on our button? It's very simple. So you can come here and we say cursor dash pointer, save and refresh. You can see that. So let's do the same thing here. Cursor dash pointer, save, let's do that here, um, cursor, pointer, cursor dash pointer, save and refresh. You can see we have this. So now we need to set space between this join and tweet button. So how do we do that? So let's add margin to this tweet. So you can come here and we say margin, sorry, to the tweet. So you can see margin left, and you can give this like 10 pixels, save and refresh. You can see to give a space. So that is that on this class. So we create the element on our page and we use CSS to style it. So see you in the next lesson. Thank you.